Can you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Monica Utume Moana Pahulu.
Okay, what's up? Okay. Can you tell me about yourself? How was your childhood, and how was your upbringing, like being a Tongan living in America?
Okay, so I was raised by a single mother, and her mother and her sister.
Okay.
In San Mateo, my dad and my mom were going out at some point, and that's how I came about. I met my dad when I was about 18. He is a funny guy. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
He passed away in September last year. But that's my dynamic. I am Tongan, but I come from an American type of background where I'm raised by one parent. Not necessarily co-parenting by the other one, but they were there later on in life. I take my mom's last name.
Okay.
I don't take my dad's last name. So I know that there's, questions when I go around Tongan people because they don't understand that. And I get that they don't understand that, but I know I'm not the only one.
Okay. So who raised you?
My mom.
Your mom, right?
Yeah, my mom's mom, whose mom's my grandma, and my mom's sister. And we stayed out in San Mateo for quite a while. Then we relocated to San Bruno, and then I relocated to Daly City, and then now I'm in Millbrae. But yeah, pretty much just a house full of women, or apartment really. And my mom was raised in Fiji. My grandma is from Tonga, but eloped with her husband, who was my grandpa, to Fiji. So all their children were raised in a Fijian culture atmosphere. So I am full Tongan, but I was raised by a mother who was raised in Fiji, which is a whole different type of culture dynamic.
Right. Can you talk about how was it growing up as a Tongan in America under a single mom household? But I know you had other people out there in your family. Did you face any difficulties growing up with a single mom because your dad wasn't there, or you just had a good support system for you?
I honestly had a good support system. I really can't complain. And I always feel like people need to live within their own means. Yeah. Why? Because in comparison, it could have been worse, right? Yeah. There's a lot of kids out here that don't have anybody to raise them, or that were raised in the system, which really sucks because the system sucks, right? So I can't really sit here and say that I didn't have the best, because I had the best of what was given to me. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say, yes, I had a support system, and it was really good.
Okay, all right. Did you always think like that as a kid? Did you were there times where you just felt like you wished you had a better support system? Sometimes kids feel like that. I really felt like I didn't really know. I mean, I was happy. Yeah. I was happy in my home, so I really didn't feel the absence. Okay. So I can't really say that I felt the absence. Okay. I did notice that a lot of my other girl cousins on my mom's side had dads, but they were always really open-armed to me. Okay. So, and I realized that things happen, but I don't know, as a kid, I didn't really think too much about it. Yeah. I was just interested in eating burgers and sports and stuff. I wasn't really I wasn't really into some of the things that I didn't have, because I just felt like I had things, right? Yeah. So no, I don't think I was without. Okay. And you grew up here your whole life, right?
Yes.
Was your mom very traditional when it comes to the culture when she raised it, or was she more American when she raised you?
I feel like all Tongans are Americanized and raised Americanized, right? Yeah. Because we're all Christian, right? We all abide by the Christian rule, and the Christian rule is very similar to what we abide by. So when you say culturally, I can't really say yes.
Okay.
Because I feel like I was raised culturally by a system that was created to kind of section us off.
Can you get more definite?
Sure.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that, and I don't know the specific time.
Yeah.
But when our monarchy was known as a monarchy in Tonga, right? A lot of it was missionaries coming to Tonga and settling in Tonga and, pretty much recruiting the people to believe in Christianity beliefs, right? So really, when you say culture, you want to know what the real Tongan culture is, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you that you don't know what that is. And I'm going to tell you that my mom doesn't know what that is. And I'm going to tell you that my grandma doesn't know what that is. Or my great-grandma doesn't know what that is. Maybe my great-great-great-grandma did, but she does, so I don't even know.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So, when you grew up, of course, you didn't grow up speaking Tongan, right?
No.
Okay, cool. Did you ever feel like, because you didn't know Tongan, like, did you ever feel kind of any struggles from your family members, or feel like you weren't Tongan enough at all?
Not really.
Not really?
No. I was around mostly my mom's side of the family, and my mom's side of the family, which is my grandma's side, and a lot of them have integrated to the other culture, or other cultures. So, we know that it's there.
Yeah.
I didn't really get too much backlash of not speaking Tongan. I think it's my own insecurity that I don't know how to speak it, and I am full Tongan.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I should actually up my game on that. Maybe I'll ask my stepmom one day to teach me.
Yeah.
So.
It's all good. All right. So, is there any traditional the kind of Tongan customs that we have? That we kind of practice, that you feel like, because you're Tongan, you're female, and you grew up in America. Are there any kind of cultural things or Tongan customs that we have that you feel like that kind of hinders Tongan Polynesian women to grow, to be their potential, to be their best? Because you grew up in the Tongan, in a Polynesian household.
Okay, so I feel like what I explained beforehand. So if we want to talk about household and culture and this whole gender-based issues that we have in our culture, that's all pretty much inspired by, being colonized through Christianity, right?
Okay, yeah.
So, in the Bible, or how people perceive the Bible, is that women are the helpers.
Yeah.
Men are the head of the household, women is the neck. However, I do know in Tongan culture that, there are women are held high in a certain standard.
Yeah.
The Pahulu, right? Yeah. The Pahulu is always going to be your older sister, right? Also your mother. However, I think that there are double standards, and I've seen it.
Did you experience it?
Did I experience? I mean, I don't know what girl hasn't experienced it.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be Tongan to experience it.
Yeah.
I feel like women just in general are second best when it comes to things. Christianity tells us to be the helper, right?
Yeah.
But why is it that? If you're in household, if you're in a marriage or relationship, then it has to be 50-50. Why do I always have to help you and you not help me?
Yeah.
Right? That is what I see.
Yeah.
And I feel like that, yes, there's a balance. I'm not really against it or not against it. This is just through pure observation.
Yeah.
Observing it, I feel like, once you start, telling, for instance, an example is, you have a daughter and a son, right? Say they're twins, right? There's a party going on. They're both 16. I would say that, and I would say that in a Tongan household or any Christianity household, right? You're going to tell your daughter not to go, but you're going to allow your son to go.
That's true.
But why is that?
Yeah.
Do you know why that is?
No. All I know is that's how we were raised.
Right.
And brought up.
I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair because I feel like you are sheltering your children from becoming adults, right? From interacting with other folks.
Well, I think I have an idea of why they do that. Is because in their mind, females, you guys have to, have the risk of getting pregnant.
Yes.
So they're afraid of that, and
yes.
that's why they're more likely to let males go because they can't get pregnant.
Right.
But they can, of course, get somebody else. But that's I think that's one of I've heard people say that.
And that's a huge issue, right?
Yeah.
That will create financial disparities in your family.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. The problem is we need to start having real conversations with our children. I don't know. I really can't say too much because I don't have any.
Yeah.
Right. But I do know that if the conversations aren't held with your children about safe sex practice, about knowing who you are, and about understanding what sex is, then that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So the problem is not gender. The problem is not securing our female. The problem is not protecting our females. The problem is we're not being real with them.
Yeah.
We're not sitting down having those real conversations, not the conversations that are like, you're gonna get pregnant, so don't go out.
Yeah.
Okay. The conversations of like, hey,
sitting down with them.
Yeah, this is what I don't want to happen, but here are your options. Okay. Nobody has to agree with me on that. Why? Because everybody has a different opinion, really sprang by religion. Let's not lie about that.
Okay.
So until we start having real conversations with our children, who are really our children, you're going to have that outcome. And that's an insecurity that I feel like parents, not even just Tongan parents, all parents need to understand. So yeah.
Did you have those conversations growing up with the people that raised you?
I mean, honestly, I was a weird child. They didn't have to have those conversations with me because they knew I was weird.
Yeah.
I was into like
by weird,
eating.
Can you elaborate on weird? Like what made you weird to them?
I was into eating Jack in the Box and eating out and and although it's maybe it is in compared to other folks, and their children, but I wasn't into those things. Your children.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what they got. And I just wasn't one of them. Like I just really was into like movies and sports and eating out, and I wasn't affected by that until later on in life. Okay. So I'd have to say my mom was quite lucky, know, and I was satisfied, but that doesn't go for everybody else, and everybody's different. I'm not saying that makes me better or that makes me good. No, I'm saying that I'm different and I'm an individual, and if your children or your daughters are into that stuff, so what? Now you need to really have that conversation. It's I don't know. I really can't say too much about it because like I said again, I don't have kids. So I don't want people to be sitting over here talking about, this bitch don't know what show about. Because I don't. But I can honestly say from an observation point.
From your experience.
From an observational point of view, those conversations need to be met if you feel like the child is into that.
Okay. So your family started to notice you were different, right?
Yeah.
So did they try to conform you, or were they more embracing and just accept you, or did you have to teach them that this is how I'm going to be, and they just had to accept you?
I mean, honestly, I feel like there was love. I mean, I think that all parents will try to, if they feel like you're into one thing too much, they'll try to like, oh, here, do this.
Yeah. Did anybody ever pull you aside and, hey, this is not how you should be acting, or this is not how you should be thinking? Did you ever have that?
All the time. I don't know what kid doesn't go through that. Yeah. Because you're a child, and everybody that's an adult will always try to mold your mind. Yeah. Right? They're always going to try to mold you. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily, but I don't think it's a good thing, because if you don't accept them for who they naturally are, because everybody has a nature, right? And I feel like with kids and parents, you can tell their nature. right? And so if you can't accept the nature and you're trying to change it then that's just bad. Sometimes you just need to let it be. I feel like, of course I got that. Of course. Like, you know, in Tongan culture, you know, you're either too fat or too skinny. Or, you know, you're either eating too much or eating too little. Or you're either, you know, wearing this or not wearing that. Or, you know, there's nitpicking. And as children, you grow up and you realize, like, was I ever good enough? Maybe it wasn't that.
So you had those thoughts?
Of course. Okay. I feel like all kids were always going to have those thoughts. All adults still even have those thoughts now.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, but until, you know, and I blame it on everything, really. I don't really even blame it on parents alone, because right now in the U.S., you live a fast-paced life. You make money, you feed your kids, they go to school, you go to work there, right? That routine has to be an ongoing routine. But what the problem is that this routine gives parents the inability to be there for their children fully, right? So here you are working 40 hours a week. Here your kid is at school about the same amount of time without getting paid. And so there aren't really real conversations. Where is there time to have a connection with your children, to figure out what their nature is? Who have they become in the couple years that you have raised them, right? Also, there's outside forces, influences, friends, peers, right? So that's also shaping and molding them to who they think they want to become. And, you know, until this system changes, that's not going to change. So I don't even think it's parents. I think it's just, you know, in number wise, in general, if you are an American living here, you know, whether you're Tongan or not Tongan, and you are, you know, working a job and your partner's working a job and you're making, like, say, maybe under 60K, between 40 and 60K a year, that is going to be your issue. Time is always going to be your issue. And is that your fault? No. I'm not going to sit here and say it's your fault because you can't spend time with your kids because you're trying to feed them. No, I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is, you know, maybe if for some reason our government cares to care about people that aren't a part of 1%, the 1%, or even middle class, you know, that maybe there can be time.
Okay. So, like you said, they had those conversations with you, right? Like you said, all kids do.
Yeah.
Were you the type to freely express how you felt and you kind of push back on that? Were you that type?
Yes and no. Okay. You know, I feel like all kids are going to be like, that's not who I am. You don't know who I am. You know, because they feel like they've been interrogated.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, you want me to do this, you want me to do that, you want me to do this and that, all this stuff. For what?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, are you embarrassed of me?
Yeah.
Do you not think I'm good enough? And that's the question. Am I good enough?
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like parents, they do that to make us more observant about how we're growing, how we're becoming adults. Okay. Right? So I don't think it's necessary. I don't think that your parents nag you on certain things because they want you to fail. They nag you because they're scared.
Yeah.
And if you're a parent and you're scared, again, I'm not a parent, so I really can't say too much, but there's fear. Fear is involved if you're constantly nagging your child to be something that they may not be right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I know a lot of times in our culture, like we're not allowed to say anything back.
Right.
Right. You know, we papa, right? So we're not allowed to say anything back to our parents. So, I'm assuming you did, right? So you.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say that I'm the only one. I feel like it's just in the culture that had been introduced to Tonga through Christianity. Yeah. You don't speak. You don't have an opinion. The elder people have the better opinion of everything. And that's, to me, that is what it is, right? We can't go back in time and tell them not to come to our island because they gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But and I don't know who we were before Christianity hit. I don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
He don't know. You know? So it's just kind of like, it's kind of like the opinions, the questions that we have, the rebuttals that we have, they are not ever going to be met, right? Because it's disrespectful. The questioning anything, authority, which is kind of what this country is having right now with questioning authority of PD, right? Why?
Yeah.
Right? I understand you're my authority, you're my authoritarian, but why can I question you for that? I wouldn't say it's the same thing as parenting, but I would say that in a child's mind, it is kind of.
Do you have like any specific example of something that that you questioned, that your parents wanted you to change, but that was, you knew for a fact that was part of your identity, that this is who I am, and you had to put your foot down and let them know that this is how I'm going to be? Do you have any experiences like that?
Hell yeah. I question everything. I don't believe anybody, and I always question everybody.
Do you have a big one you can share? It's kind of relatable for everybody. That kind of stands out.
Okay, so for instance, I'll do something recent. I think when I was younger, I had questions that were like too much.
Okay. Like
aliens. I'm not gonna do all that.
Okay.
Like I was.
That's annoying.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I would say, for instance, like I don't know if it was 2019 or 18, but Miss Halala, right? Okay. There was a winner.
I remember.
Who looked Tongan, like a real Tongan girl, right? And people had so much anger against it. Why? Do you not look in the mirror and see that? That's my question.
Yeah. My
question is, why did people have such issues with a Tongan girl who won a Miss Halala pageant who looked Tongan? You just didn't want the girl, you wanted the girl that was Tongan that didn't look Tongan to win. And that's really the only backlash that it had. The backlash was she wasn't as westernized looking as the other one, right?
What was the name of the Halala girl that won? Do you remember?
I don't know, but I had it on my Facebook.
Is she the one that had a whole speech about?
Yeah.
That she used that time to.
Right.
That one. Okay.
Right, and I would say that a lot of the OGs were like, of course, you look at somebody.
So for everybody that's not really familiar with Miss Halala, so can you kind of explain what really happened? To give some context.
Miss Halala is like a beauty pageant, right?
Yeah.
And it's a beauty pageant for, girls that are Pacific Islander nature, right? And so there's an issue. There's an issue where we as Tongan people are down to support somebody that looks Tongan. You want to support somebody that doesn't look so Tongan, that's more appealing to your eyes from a westernized view. Okay? Is that good? And really question yourself, is it good?
Yeah.
Like, do you, when you feel that way, essentially what you feel is that when you look in the mirror, you don't like it.
So the girl that won didn't look Tongan enough, or?
She looked Tongan.
She looked Tongan.
The other one didn't.
But why did they hate the one that won?
She looked too Tongan.
You said too Tongan?
Yeah. I would say nobody wants to say that. Nobody wants to say that.
I've never heard that before.
In comparison to the other woman, that's what she looked like. There's a lot of slurs about how ugly she was and all this other dumb shit, right? And it's like, why? She's not ugly.
Yeah.
She's not. She just doesn't look like that girl.
So
and this girl doesn't even look Tongan. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I think she's beautiful.
Yeah. But
I'm saying that if that's the only thing that you're arguing with about her winning and not her winning, that's bad.
Okay. And was this a whole conversation in your family?
I feel like it was a conversation in everybody's family.
Yeah.
Okay? And really, the conversation was a dumb conversation.
Yeah.
Because I know successful people, when we're talking about success, right? Yeah. Because in Miss Halala, it is about beauty, but it's also about who you are as well, right? I I know people that are really good looking that are unsuccessful. Really unsuccessful.
Yeah.
And I know people that are really ugly and that are very successful.
Yeah.
Right? So my whole thing is, if we're just judging it on clearly of what of our appearance, and honestly, the girl that won looked like a Tongan girl.
Yeah.
So I don't know what people were talking about.
Okay.
You know, calling her Nelly and all this dumb shit.
Yeah.
It's sad to somebody who questions everything, because I don't get it.
Okay.
It's like saying, oh, like say for instance, I'm looking at a picture of elephants right here, right? There's a picture of elephants right here, and there's a competition, and it's all elephants, but one is a giraffe, but they want to look at the giraffe and say that giraffe should have won because it's a giraffe instead of an elephant. I don't get it. Like, it's cool, but there has to be something else. Why else do you feel like she didn't? Why else do you feel like she wasn't a good contestant?
Okay.
Why else? You can't tell me that. Why? Because you're brainwashed.
Yeah.
You're brainwashed.
Yeah. All I remember from that one was like, that she decided to do a speech, and then I remember they were trying to get her off stage.
And she's right for doing it.
Yeah.
I don't even know her.
Yeah.
And she's right for doing it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the comments were unnecessary.
Yeah. I know that she did mention she was facing a lot of bullying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of bullying.
For looking Tongan.
Yeah.
She's not ugly. That's stupid.
Yeah, she wasn't ugly.
Pause real quick.
Yep.
And we're good.
Okay. So so I know you're the type of person you like to voice your opinion. You like to express yourself freely. Have you ever had a situation where somebody either within your circle, with your family, told you to shut up?
All the time.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's like a custom thing, and not even just for Tongans. For all cultures when you're a child, you know? Yeah. I'm sure that it's a natural thing, because parents, we live, I would say, as a community of all minorities. We live by this Christianity rule that, young people are to learn and not to voice opinions, but to learn from the elders. So you can't actually question it. Yeah. Right? Is it good? Well, not really. Because how else am I supposed to learn? If I have a question, I'm supposed to ask somebody, right? Yeah. It's supposed to clarify my confusion. The fact that I'm sitting here and I can't ask a question, I'm still confused. Or I'll have to go find it from somewhere else, And perception is everything. So, who's to say that if I ask that question to the people that are telling me not to ask that question, that they have the right answer, right? So yeah, of course I dealt with that. I'm pretty sure you're dealt with that. Yeah. Is it right? No. But is it something that we're going to change soon enough? No, because habits are hard to break.
Do you ever remember the first time somebody told you that, and that really affected how you felt about yourself, your self-esteem, and maybe almost decided to give up on speaking out?
Oh God, let's see.
Especially when it comes from the people you love, right? When from the family members that they're close to you, and they're the ones saying this, right?
I honestly can't remember a specific moment.
Okay. But
I know that it was an ongoing thing. Right? When it was, conversations about politics.
As early as, say, how old you were?
Let's say, as early as I was born. But, I mean, honestly, from what I can remember, maybe, 8, 9. When it came to political views, when it came to things on the news, or TV shows, or even just family drama, or... My opinion had no say, and I would have to sit there and not say anything. Is that good? Yeah. I don't know if that's good. But I do know that it will affect a person, right? Because everything is perception. Everything is perception. So it will affect a person enough if you keep telling them, just in little things too. It wouldn't even have to be something huge. It could be something like, you're watching a TV show and they have an opinion about a character. and your opinion is something totally different because you see that character in a different light because that's your perception. It could be as far back as that. So I really can't state a specific moment because it just adds up.
Have you ever saw something? We're just talking about like, you know, experience of speaking up. Because I know in our culture we're not, you know, we're taught not to speak anything, regardless of it's right or wrong. It's just not our place to say. And I know a lot of kids suffer with that.
Yeah.
But have you ever saw something that you knew for a fact that they were wrong, and you decided to speak up on it? Have you ever faced that situation before? Something that you saw that was going on with your family or family members, or what their actions was something that you knew wasn't right, and you decided to speak on it. And how did that experience go if you did speak on it?
Oh God. Yeah, that's all the time.
Yeah.
I would say that
a specific one.
A specific one.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, for instance, right? Yeah. And I know people understand what I'm talking about here. Yeah. Like, why is it okay for the men in our families to not do anything? Like when it comes to like household chores, or like even like I didn't really live with any of my guy cousins, but when it came to functions and stuff like Thanksgiving or or Christmas and stuff, like why is it okay for them to sit around, play outside, or play video games? And why do the older women ask us to help instead of them? Yeah. This should be a community project. If we're all eating, they need to be doing something. Yeah. Okay? And the fact that they're a boy and they don't have to is not a good enough reason.
Yeah, you know that's the reason.
It is damn well the reason.
That's her reason.
It's a reason, and it's not a good reason.
Yeah, you're a woman. I'm gonna do your job.
All you're doing is teaching them. You're teaching all you're really doing when you're doing that to these young women and men at a young age is you're teaching women how to be submissive, and you're teaching men how to be dominant. Dominant, yes. And that's not very good. I think with men in general, that's a natural effect. Yeah. Okay? The fact that you're allowing that behavior, what it is also is entitling men to feel like they're entitled for that. Yeah. Okay? So then when they go out looking for a partner,
when they get married,
they're going to expect their partner to be a slave. Yeah. Like, this is to me, that is an issue, and that needs to, again, that comes from, I'm not even going to say it because it's just to me too controversial, but that just comes from our upbringing.
We like controversy here.
Well, that just comes from the missionaries coming down. Yeah. That just comes from Christianity. Yeah. Right? That is a solid habit that we've allowed ourselves to endure and to keep practicing, and it's not fair. Yeah. You need to teach your sons how to be husbands as much as you teach your women how to be wives. Yeah. Like, straight up.
And I think you brought a great point, because the behaviors you teach them at a very young age, that goes into their relationships.
Yes.
I've just seen a lot of, because I believe relationships is all about reciprocation. It's not one-sided, where every one person does all the work. I think it's a partnership. Yeah. And what I've seen with a lot of relationships with Polynesian relationships, and why they fail, is because it's always one-sided, where the female side is they're doing too much, and then the male's not doing enough. Right. I do not support them financially, emotionally, and I see that a lot. So that's a good point. So when you voiced your, so was there a point of time where you felt like you were doing too much as a female, and did you say something about it?
I think that I said a lot about it. I think that I voiced it a lot.
How did that go?
It didn't go very well. It's the questioning, right? Yeah. I'm questioning why this is going on.
What did they say? Do you remember what they said? Like what the look they gave?
Shut up.
Yeah, shut up.
They told me shut up, and I get it. Okay, you want to tell me shut up, and it is what it is. Yeah. But that is always going to be my opinion, and if people don't like it, they don't have to. Okay. All right. That's an observation. Maybe we're not observing the same thing. I don't know.
I know. It's a norm.
It's
right?
a norm.
It's a norm. So it's like people don't even pay attention because it's a norm. It's what they expect.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I want to talk about that more. So the giving, like you said, women, expect to give more than the men. But I want to talk a little bit more when it comes to like the giving of Polynesians, right? Like sometimes I see a lot that we sometimes we suffer because they expect us to give everything, and no matter what we have, especially when it comes to the Polynesian functions, like helping out family in the islands or the Misi Lai, the church functions. Did you have to, and as females and of course as guys, we have to contribute as well, but I know they expect more from you guys. Did you ever go experience that growing up where you just felt like you were just giving too much and you just felt like it was overwhelming?
It's more of like my mom is raised in Fiji. My mom and her siblings are raised in Fiji. So there's an understanding that if you can't give it, then you probably shouldn't. But I would say for my grandma who raised me, she's from Tonga. She was raised in Tonga. So a lot of the times, she would give. And I mean, it is what it is, that's something that she can't stop. She can't stop herself from understanding that. That is her social construct. She has been raised as a young girl to, continuously give to family or church.
Even though it was harming to her.
And so, I mean, it's one of the reasons why people love her, but it's one of the reasons why, financially there is a disparity, right? And I mean, it's a beautiful thing, right? To give whatever you have, right? But I think what the misconception is it's whatever you have, not more than that.
Exactly.
Right? If you have something to give, make sure that you financially...
If you have something.
Make sure you financially set that where you can do it. Not necessarily where you can't. And I think that Princess Pilalevu, like, she actually made a speech about that.
I saw that on the video on Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
We have to really... I mean, if you're not going to listen to me, listen to her. You know what I mean? Like, that's clearly what...
Can you kind of paraphrase what she said, just for everybody?
Pretty much what I'm saying.
She was talking about the fahu, right? I remember.
Right.
Yeah, she was about the fahu. Yeah.
Right. Pretty much what I was saying. If you're financially able to give a certain amount, stick with that. Think about it. Think about your immediate family first, because you have a responsibility to them first, then to looking a certain type of way to your society.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like everybody wants to be accepted. Everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants to be invited to things.
I feel like it's more about show.
Yeah.
You're trying to impress people.
Right.
Make it seem like you are winning.
Right.
Or you're doing good in life, but in reality,
that's not the case.
You're eating ramen at home.
Right. And ramen's hella bad for you, even though it's hella good.
Yeah.
But it's hella bad for you.
Straight salt.
Yeah. It's kind of like, you have to differentiate from that, and there needs to be less pressure, and it's more it is a societal thing because it's a social construct for us to do that, but it also has to be an individual choice to be like, hey, I'm not there where I am where you feel that I should be because you want this much, but here's what I can give, and if these people don't like you because of that, then you need to find some new friends. Just straight up, like, you don't need to be around people that keep on want you to give that you don't have, what you don't have, because the more you do that, the less people will have respect for you, and everything is respect, right?
Okay. Yeah. And was your family really big? Like, were they really strict when it came to like they expected you to give, or they were more relaxed as far as what they expected out of you?
Oh no! I mean, I feel like all Polynesians or Pacific Islanders are the same. My mom always called me and asked me for a certain amount.
Have you ever helped out a family member and you kind of harmed yourself and put yourself in a worse situation before?
No. I honestly can say no.
Okay.
Only because I'm an individual and I think logically about things. On top of that,
you're expressive, so you'll say your opinion. Yeah.
I will say my opinion, and then also, I'm okay with people not liking me.
That's true.
If you don't like me, that's you.
That's true.
If you like me, cool.
Yeah.
But I'm not entitled. I don't feel entitled to things. So if I don't feel entitled to things, that means that I don't feel other people to feel entitled to things.
Yeah.
You know, so there's that issue with folks that do that. There's an entitlement issue. That entitlement issue is something that you need to work with.
Yeah.
Because if you keep feeling entitled to things, you will fail.
Yeah. Okay. So, and like I said, you know, just to go off what you said, you know, you don't care what people think about you, right? Did you always think that way?
No, of course not.
What did you get? Which point of your life did you actually start to develop that mindset? Because, like, you know, one thing about you, you're very independent, you're very strong-minded. You like to voice your opinion. You're very expressive. If you compare, you know, if you kind of like compare yourself to, like, you know, Polynesian women, they don't expect that. You know, if like what they expect out of Polynesian women is to be reserved, to be submissive, like you said, right? So you know, just do what they're supposed to be doing, right? So you're totally opposite of what our culture, or maybe the traditional way we expect out of Polynesian women. So how did you develop into that? And at what point in your life did you decide, you know what, I'm just gonna be different, and I'm gonna be who I am? Which point? Like, do you ever remember that phase at that point of time in your life when you just realized that you're gonna be different from everybody else?
That's my environment.
Yeah.
I mean, I was raised by a single parent, a single mom.
Yeah.
Who's independent most of the time.
Okay, that's true.
And so that's my environment. And then also, I do remember something that my dad told me, and I won't forget it because it's very real.
Yeah.
And he told me when I was 18, I think.
Yeah.
18 or 19. And he just said, you don't be scared. Yeah. Like, fear is a really real thing, and if you keep fearing things and situations, you'll never develop. You'll never grow.
That's good advice.
You'll never grow into what you need to be. And so being accepted by other communities or by other people or even family members, that's a fear.
Yeah.
You can't control that.
Yeah.
You can't control how they like you or how they feel about you. Because it really could, it could really be about something that is not even about the situation at hand. You know, so, you know, to be a people pleaser, no.
Yeah.
You know, to be a good person, yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely not a people pleaser.
Yeah. That's good. How was you know what, you're a female, Polynesian female. How was dating in there, growing up in your family? As far as, like, you know, Polynesians, you know, girls, you know, when it comes to dating, they're very strict.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, my dad wasn't there till I was like 18, but my dad was pretty much like, my dad was a conversationalist, okay. You know, and my mom was just like, you just need to get that money and work. It's not even about all that.
Yeah.
You know, so it depends on your upbringing. I would say that my upbringing, you know, there were times where my mom would be like, you know, like women, like, not even to me, we never really have those conversations, but just like her downgrading other women that are, you know, socially construct loosey-goosey, right? But the thing is like, I mean, with dating and the whole thing, as a young girl, I didn't really feel like dating until after 21. Did
they care about, like, who you date, or did they, like, suggest or kind of give you, like, preferences of who they want you to date?
As long as my mom always said, as long as they're a nice person, and as long as they're good on the inside and a nice person, it doesn't matter what they look like or what they have, which is why my first boyfriend was really ugly. But, like, you know, he was, like, it's really, my mom was just really about if they're a nice person. And so...
Ugly emotionally or physically? No, just joking.
Yeah, like, maybe mentally, too.
Mentally.
You know, like, as long as they're nice and they're good to you, then it's cool. My uncles, I never had conversations with that. My dad, never.
Yeah.
That was weird. Yeah. My dad, we didn't have conversations about that. But, you know, towards the end of his life, he was like, Monica, just you know, just, is everything okay?
Yeah.
You know, he was questioning it and stuff, but, like, I don't know, like, I think that it's more important, right, to have a better relationship or a real relationship with yourself than it is to have it with anybody else.
Yeah.
And so right now we're living in a society that is highly narcissistic, where we're looking for people to make us feel better about ourselves or our situation.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just a downfall in general. If you're just, you know, if you're a female or male looking for another person because you don't feel like being alone anymore, or you feel like it's gonna make your family stop talking shit to you, stop.
Yeah.
And just take a breath. It's not that serious. Like, like, you know, you're still alive and you haven't had COVID-19 unless you have. So.
Yeah. What about your grandma? What about your grandma? Did she ever have her say something to the people you dated? Because she's more old school, right? She's from the older generation, so.
I think my first boyfriend, she didn't like him because she felt like he was all ugly. And that's just her. That's her opinion of things.
Did she ever tell you like what she preferred or not? Not really.
Not really. My grandma on my mom's side she's a really sweet lady. She wasn't racist or anything like that. Maybe she was, but just not out loud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't like that out loud. You know. My other one, she's like that out loud. She tells it how it is. Yeah. But the one that actually raised me, she wasn't. She never really talked about that stuff. She just was like, she was all about God. Yeah. She's a really Christian woman. She was always about God. She always told me that evil, you know, resides in the heart. Like, maybe evil doesn't exist, but only exists in you. So, you know, whatever you do attracts whatever you have. And we didn't really have long conversations about stuff like that. I do remember her, though, she never wanted me to get a tattoo. And I almost got a tattoo of my last name, but I ended up chickening out because I got scared. So, never mind.
What happened to while your dad said? About fear.
About fear? Yeah, it didn't work there.
It didn't work that time?
No, it didn't work there. Well, the thing was, we went to a tattoo parlor and...
You saw the machine and everything?
No, it wasn't that. They had... So my girlfriends say they all got their last name, or Pahulu last name tatted. And then there was a guy before me, big old white biker dude. And he was crying like a child. So I didn't want to do it.
Oh.
Nope.
I feel it. So, what do you think is like, you know, this whole interview you've gone through a lot, talked about all your experiences. I'm sure. What do you think is one of the hardest things of just being a Polynesian female, growing up in America? Your opinion.
I think it's just people's misconception, and I can say this for myself. And being Polynesian, all of us look different. We all have a certain different type of look. You know, you could look like this, and that. But I do know that being in the U.S., if you don't know what Polynesians are or what Tongans are, you're going to think I'm black or a mix of something, right? And so what I don't like the most is when I'm around people and they know I'm Pacific Islander and they start talking about African American people like they're a problem. Yeah. But here's the joke. I know what I look like when I look in the mirror. Yeah. And I definitely don't look like you should be talking to me about this. Yeah. Right? It's insensitive. It's insensitive. Yeah. Right? I know what my dad looks like, you know, and my dad's brothers. Being out here in the U.S., I mean, they definitely don't look white, and they definitely look more African American than anything else, right? So, I think that is probably one of the hardest things to voice to people. Not even people that are Polynesian, just to people, and even Polynesians too, because you know what, we'd be on that bullshit too, and that needs to stop. Yeah. Okay, so we definitely don't look white unless you are half white. Never mind. Yeah. But we need to stop that because the issue is there is a stigma against blackness in the U.S., right? Here's the joke, though. We're only a one shade away from it.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, I think that the issue of being Polynesian in the U.S. is that when you work with people, when you go to school with people, when you, they know you're Polynesian, and they automatically feel like it's okay to talk about a race that looks similar to you. And some Polynesians might disagree with me and say, oh, you look like that, not me.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, you're not white.
That's true. So I want to talk about the work that you do at the nonprofit. What's the name of the place again?
It's called Taon Lama.
Taon Lama. All right. Can you speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So Taon Lama is a nonprofit organization that works with Pacific Islanders on linking up to resources, health education, from different contractors that we get. So there's a variety of things that Taon Lama works well with. It works with tobacco education. It works with mental education, mental health education. It also works with different education workforces with diabetes, heart disease. We do have a elderly program that's going on, a senior citizen program, and I think a lot of the senior citizens can benefit from it. So, because we have people that can speak in Tongan that can kind of educate them on the things that they're going through, right? So I'll give you this one spiel. We did a program in East Palo Alto, and that specific program was on diabetes, and this is for our senior citizen program. And so what we do after these, like certain programs, we do surveys, and we ask questions to our participants about their health, what they know about it, what they don't know about it. Unfortunately, that day we had about 15 participants from East Palo Alto that attended, that were 55 and over. And one of the questions we asked, do you know anybody that is diabetic? 14 of the participants said that they were diabetic.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that mean? That means that there's a lot of Tongans that are diabetic.
Yes.
In that specific city. Unfortunately, in 2001, Polynesian South Pacific Islanders had separated from Pacific Islanders, so now we are a ethnicity on our own, and so nonprofits are kind of generally important in Pacific Islander communities because we need to voice to our government that we are suffering. We are suffering from diabetes, heart attacks, obesity, right? Mental illness, different types of chronic cancers over the years, chronic diseases, or whatever they may be. And so what nonprofits do is we create programs to try to get that data so we can give it to our government so we can get more funding, right? And here's the issue is that Pacific Islanders, and I get it, we have issues with telling people we need help.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we tell people that we need help financially from the government, we feel less.
And it's more like the image, right? It makes it make you seem like you're weak.
Right.
And especially for Tongan people, we're really proud.
Right.
We have that proud of, we can do everything on our own.
Right.
So most people don't speak out even if they're suffering. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a problem. It's also a stigma. How can we get over this? I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that by trying to get incentives into our programs, where we can give folks, a gift card to Target or to Safeway or whatever, we can gain that time from them to take these surveys, so that we can, generate it up to our government officials, whoever these people might be, to get help, right? Because I don't know if you noticed or if y'all noticed, but a lot of our folks are dying rapidly from heart disease, chronic condition issues, cancer, and diabetes. So,
I have a lot of friends I know died before age of 40.
Yeah.
From heart heart attacks.
Right.
Like, which is crazy to me because they're dirty. Your heart should be healthy and functioning at that point. It's just sad to see.
Very sad.
Sad to see.
I had a cousin, one of my first cousins on my mom's side, who died from a heart attack at 27.
Yeah, that's crazy.
My dad, who died from liver cancer last year at 58. Yeah. 58 is a very young age.
That's very young. Yeah, that's very
You should have seen the people in the hospital.
Yeah.
Because he's Tongan 58, but Tongan 58 looks like he's 40-30.
40.
You know what I mean? So they were all looking at him like,
yeah, how that happened?
What are you doing here?
Exactly.
You know? But really, they could have done the surgery. They could have done something a little bit more for him if he wasn't obese.
Yeah.
Right? So...
Why do you think is that? Why do you think, why do you think that health, I see this a lot, right? That just, our community, everybody's just not taking care of their physical health. Why do you think that health is not a priority when it comes to Polynesian people? Why do you think that?
Because...
Yep.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm going to re-ask the question.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I said, and I see a lot of Polynesians, they're suffering with their health. Why do you think that the physical health is not a priority when it comes to Polynesians? Even though we see our own people suffering with diabetes, diseases, heart attacks, but usually if I saw somebody die of a heart attack, I'll do something about it, or within my own family. But you don't see this happen in Polynesian communities. Why do you think that's the cause?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
Just like my dad told me not to fear things.
Yeah.
We as a people don't fear death because we're told by other parents.
Oh, that's true.
To not fear.
That makes sense.
So we don't fear that.
And we're very religious. So our Christian value views that if we die,
there's
we die.
another life after.
Yeah, if we die, we die.
Right. Yeah. We die, we die. We're okay with that.
Yeah.
That was our time. I don't know what word it is for that, but
no, that makes sense.
Right. Because my dad definitely wasn't scared.
Yeah.
He wasn't scared, and I feel like that is the understanding. That's like we don't care.
Yeah.
People don't care if they smoke too much. People don't care if they die too young.
Yeah.
People don't care if they're too fat.
Yeah.
People don't care if they're too skinny. People don't care if they're doing too many drugs.
Yeah.
It's because there's no fear.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's one of the reasons why I love listening to my dad.
Yeah.
But it's another reason why I know it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not really fearing. You're not fearing death by being healthy.
Yeah.
Okay? You're taking care of your responsibility. Because most of the people that do die at these ages have kids.
Have kids and families that are responsible for it.
Right.
So it's not taking accountability for their life. Yeah.
Right. You're just leaving it all up to fate.
Yeah.
Fatalistic. I don't know if that's the right word.
But a lot of times when they die, then their families suffer worse.
So much.
When you leave.
Right. Yeah. And then you get kids that create the same habits, health-wise, who live below poverty lines.
Yeah. Grew up with a dad or a mom.
Right.
Yeah, single parent. Yeah.
Right. So, that is the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say it's that. And I get it. I don't think that it's wrong. I think that but I do think that
it's not the best way.
No,
it's not the best way to go about that situation.
No, I feel like it causes a lot more damage than it does anything else.
Exactly.
I mean, when my cousin died at 27, God, I was heartbroken about my dad, but I was definitely heartbroken about him. He's only 27.
Yeah, 27. This is so early.
Oh my God! Like people were like, and the thing was, and he wasn't even obese. He wasn't even an obese Polly. He was skinny. Yeah. Like, he was, always working out and all this stuff. But here's the thing. If you eat McDonald's and Burger King more than 3 times a week, that's what's going to happen.
Number one, McDonald's is straight poison.
Man.
Straight poison.
And Burger King is, too. Because those burgers I tried the Impossible Burger the other day. Or no, actually this morning. Yeah. The Impossible croissant thing. And it tasted really good, although it's plant-based meat. Yeah. The fact that it's from that establishment doesn't make it any better.
Yeah, that's true.
So, practice what you preach. Definitely I didn't do well this morning, but I had to try it because people were always like, oh, it doesn't taste like that. And I definitely want to try going into plant-based stuff later on in life. So I tried it really good, by the way, but I'd stay away from stuff like that, or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's really what's happening.
Okay. Also, since we're talking about physical health, I want to talk a little bit with mental health, right? I know mental health is a real thing, and I know a lot of times in our own Polynesian community or families that our elders might think that mental health is not something that's important, or a lot of times if we talk about mental health, they'll think that you're just lau pisi.
Oh, pukitebolo. Yeah.
Yeah, they crack me up. Pukitebolo.
Yeah, right. That's the truth. That's
right.
sad.
So, did you ever experience that? Did you ever go through some mental health? Did you suffer mental health, and you were trying to look for some support, some foundation, and then or you didn't receive it? Like, what was your experience when it came to mental health growing up?
Oh gosh, mental health. Okay, so here's a breakdown about that.
Yeah.
Have I ever gone through? Yes, I've been sad. Yeah. But I've also have not been in the position where I can be sad for very long.
Yeah.
Right? Because I have to keep going.
Yeah.
And so.
Have you seen it? Have you seen it? People within your own. Yeah.
Yes. My aunt is bipolar. Okay. Bipolarism. It's in my mom's side of the family. And what can we do about those things?
Yeah.
Right? God, it's so shitty. It's shitty that I'm saying this, but here's the real deal, Holyfield. If you have mental issues, I would strongly suggest you get a therapist. But here's the shitty side of it, right? Getting therapy is so expensive that people that work regular jobs can't actually get that, right? So what do? This is why we have nonprofits.
Yeah.
This is why we have nonprofits here to serve folks like ourselves, right? We have PCRC, we have Taulama, we have a bunch of other organizations that are there to cater for you. So, out there, if you are going through some mental issues and you are a part of a low-income class, or that's your situation, try to get help. Therapy is the best. Seeing a psychiatrist is cheaper, but what they will do is they'll give you medications that will essentially make you crazy, and then you'll have to depend on them your whole life.
Yeah.
And I know this because I've had my aunt go through it, I've had my cousin go through it, and she died. And so it's a real issue, but what sucks about it is that people from minority communities, we don't get enough support from that, because these therapy classes, they're a lot of money, and they really shouldn't be a lot of money if you're living in the U.S., because you're bound to go a little funny, because our society's marketed that way, right? You're constantly walking around and you're trying to do better because there's all these advertisements that advertising all these things you want, all the things you want to be, but guess what? You're not there financially, right? That makes you sad, right? And it makes you depressed, and it makes you feel worthless, right? And so what do? You end up going to alcohol, drugs, right? What does that do? It makes you worse, takes your money.
Yeah.
And so there's an ongoing issue there, right? And the first step that we need to do as a people is to understand that it's happening, and to not be scared of it, and to be okay to talk about it.
And I've seen that. I've seen it happen. What you said, when people have mental health, of course they can't afford therapy, so they gotta find a way to cope with it.
Right.
And usually they start doing drugs and alcohol. Mm-hmm. And then of course, when they start doing drugs and alcohol, they get criticized from the families, and of course they get labeled as alcoholic or abuser.
Right.
But they don't realize that there's a reason why they're doing it.
Right.
And they suffer.
So now your one support system, which is your family, is clowning you.
It's clowning you or ostracizing you from everything, right?
Right. And I always say.
So what's your advice to somebody like that?
Honestly,
it's getting no support from nobody, from the people they love.
Okay. This is what I like to do when I'm sad. I like to get a notebook and I like to just write.
Yeah.
You know, if you can write down what you're feeling, how you're feeling, why that made you feel that way, the situation that happened, just write it down, right? And then take it out of your notebook and then burn it.
That's true.
You know, so that it gets out of you. Because I think the number one issue with having mental...
They hold it in.
You hold it in.
Yeah.
Well, you need to take it out, right? And honestly, if you tell somebody else that's your family, they're just going to talk shit about you.
Yeah.
So if you're going to...
Yeah.
So if you're going to write it, if you write it down, right? And you can write whatever you want on that page or pages or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then you crumple it up and you throw it away and you burn it or whatever. It's already out.
Why do you think Polynesian, especially the elderly Polynesian, why do you think that they don't either believe or they don't care about mental health? Where do they get that perspective from? Because we all know mental health is real, but for some reason, our parents or mostly the OGs, the elderly Polynesians, they just think that it's stupid. It's not real.
I would say.
Why do you think they think that way?
Because we're the warriors of the South Pacific, so.
They grew up the island mentality. Or something.
There's still island mentality along with Christianity mentality, where if you're not physically hurt, it doesn't count.
Yeah. That's true. That is true.
Like you're just, I don't know. There's something there, and I can't see it. Like you're telling me that your heart hurts, but your heart's still in your chest, and there's nothing bleeding.
That makes sense.
You know, you can't actually see it, so the OGs don't understand, you know, what's going on. Yeah. And I think a lot of our community is so strong, in a sense where we can kappa on each other, like talk shit to each other all day long, and be like, whatever, you know, like I'll still talk to you tomorrow. Yeah. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing. But it's a bad thing only if you're doing that. You're talking shit to somebody that's having some mental issues,
some real issues. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now you've just increased it, and now they have no way of outletting it.
Yeah. They just keep it in.
It
gets worse over time.
But I would say it's because of that. We're a people that we have to see it to believe it or feel it in a sense. We can't really say see it because we believe in Christianity, and I don't see too much of that going on. Yeah. But we have to see it to believe it. So if there's no physical harm going on, then we don't know what you're talking about. And now we're just going to blame it on the devil. Yeah.
And I think also they weren't educated on that.
Right.
So we grew up in Western society, so like we were educated about mental health. So we know about it. So to a fault for them, it's like if you don't know, you just don't know.
You know, and here's the thing, right? Mental health wasn't even a huge thing in European or Westernized culture until about, 20 years ago. Yeah. Okay, so who's to say that we weren't actually doing these practices before they came? Yeah. And then now they're saying, oh, it's all better. This is what you're supposed to do. Yeah. It's really shitty, you know, because with agriculture, right? Before, people were like, oh, when Christianity came, people were like, oh, here's all the processed foods and bread and all that, and it's plentiful here, and now years later they're like, oh no, go back to growing your own food, and because everything is, you see, it's a tit for tat. It's like we had something and we don't even know what we had, so I can't even sit here and say that what we had was better, but I do know that this Westernized culture is turning back. Like, it's looking more at agriculture. It's looking more at naturalizing things. No more pills. Why? Because it's driven people crazy. You know? Like, why is it that there are people out here going to schools and killing kids who are kids? Why are mass murderers, all around the U.S.? The U.S. has it has the highest rate of mass murderers than any other country in this world. Yeah. Okay, why is that? We have to ask these questions. Pharmaceutical companies, that's one, right? I would have to say that that's one because everybody, for some reason, has to take a drug to calm them down. whether it be opioids or whether it be mental, pills for your mental issues. It's driven. I mean, once you get on the pill, and what sucks about it is like a pill is like something that's supposed to be good for you, right? And so you keep taking it thinking that you're going to get better. Whereas with drugs, you know what's bad for you. You know what I mean? You know what's bad for you. So you know that you're going to have to stop at one point.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of folks in the U.S. right now that are on these pharmaceutical drugs, and they don't even realize how harmful it is.
Okay. All right. Is your family very religious? I mean, I know we're all part of a religion, but was your family like really strict when it came to religion to you when you grew up?
Yeah. My mom's religious, but she's more of like.
What kind of religion? Like how strict?
She likes all religions, honestly.
Okay.
She just.
What denomination is she?
I think she's Christian, but I don't know though, because she likes going to Buddhist temples. She likes going with her Hindu friends to their prayers, but maybe because she likes curry, I don't know. And then
maybe curry.
Yeah, and so she just kind of like she's a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
My dad, Mormon.
Mormon?
Yeah, my dad's Mormon. He grew up Mormon, but he also went to the Pentecostal church in East Palo Alto.
Yeah.
So my grandma, she's was raised Sestonga, and yeah, so we are, but not super hella, like not hella like that. But yeah.
So you were never the type like to feel like that you were walking like extra. You have to be perfect as a child, because sometimes when you grow up in a religious family, like you feel like you have to be perfect.
Oh.
Do you have any family members like that?
Yeah.
Did they grow up under strict religious families?
Yeah, I do.
So there's so much pressure to be perfect.
I do, and it ended up blowing up in their face.
Like how?
Like, God, I mean, here's the thing, right? Is you could have two parents that love you, that give you everything, right? You could still fuck up, have hella kids, and expect your parents to take care of them.
Yeah.
That's really what happens.
Yeah.
And what is that? I don't know. I don't know whether it was that or whatever, but I know for me as an individual, since like I told you, I care about what I care about things, but I know that people liking me or disliking me is not up to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, do I have cousins like that? Hell yeah, I do. Am I going to preach to them about it? Probably not, because they know.
Yeah.
I feel like people know. You know that you don't control how people perceive you. Whether it be your family, your mother, your father, your grandma, your grandpa. You can't control that. But you know what you can control? How you feel about you.
Exactly.
That's what you control. You can control you waking up in the morning and being like, I'm gonna have a better day.
Yeah.
You can control that. But as far as controlling how everybody else feel about you, that's a lost cause. You can't control that.
Yeah.
I knew that from a very young age. So, and that's just my nature.
Yeah.
It's not anything that I learned. It's just who I am. Maybe I get it from my dad. Maybe I get it from my mom. I don't really know who I get it from. But I do know that with people who do feel the pressure, they're more prone to be mentally unstable.
Yeah. Or they're more prone to break the rules.
Maybe both.
Yeah, when there's too much pressure.
Yeah, maybe both.
Do you have do you have a lot of younger cousins, young nieces?
Yeah.
Do they ever come to you for advice?
No, I don't really have too much contact with them.
Okay.
But I know that if they do, they'll know what I'll say.
Okay.
Which is something they probably don't want to hear.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
So maybe that's why they don't come.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. Who was your role model growing up?
Who was my role model? I mean, there was a lot. I mean, and a lot of these folks I don't really know. just off of what they did. Well, I lied, actually. I think everybody's role model is their parents when they're younger. But I think it for sure was my mom. One, because she was beautiful when I was younger, so that's all I actually really saw. But as I got older, I realized that, you know, there's a type of strength that she had because my mom was epileptic up until 2017 when she got a surgery done. And, you know, having me, you know, with that particular, I don't know if it's not a disease really. People are born with it. Yeah. So, you know, being epileptic and having a child in the 80s is like, what are you doing? Yeah. That's a high risk. But she did it, and, you know, my mom has always been a person to take care of her health because she didn't have health. Yeah. So I would have to say that under circumstances of who my mom was as a woman and who she is now, she definitely is a role model. There's strength there. There's strength that I don't really even... I couldn't tell you that I had because I have never been epileptic and I have never tried to be a single parent. So, my mom.
Okay. Yeah, so pretty much we're going to wrap this up. So it's the last question. What's your... and like I said, the reason why we're doing this is to help out, share your testimony and experiences so that way we can uplift our own community. Any last words for yourself, for any Polynesian girl that's growing up right now that's watching this? Do you have any advice for her? Or your thoughts? Any based on your experience? To be happy?
Yeah, just be happy, keep asking questions, and, you know, life is too short. Like, it's really short. Like, if you're going to try to please people, make sure that you're pleasing yourself first, because you can't control anybody else.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
All right.